And a good day. Welcome. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Oh, the weeks go too fast. The weekends go too slow. It's great to be back with you, our listeners. I'm Jerry Escher, along with Debbie Georgiani. Debbie, today we are going to ask our listeners to share if they have been reconnected with, or perhaps wish they could be reconnected with, a long-lost friend, someone that they maybe went to school with, they were growing up, maybe worked with at a certain point, and then life takes us in different directions, and we lose track of people. But Debbie, with modern technology and social media, it's really easier than ever to track people down and to stay in touch these days.
It sure is. So we're looking forward to hearing your experiences if you've reconnected with that person that every once in a while pops up into your mind, in your heart, during your prayers, and all of a sudden you figured out a way, through social media probably, because that's the way we do it in this day and age, that you've reconnected, and what has happened because of that chance to be reunited with that person that you cared for so long ago. So we want to hear about your experience. 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to call. When you call in, you're going to speak to Matt Gabinski. You're going to be placed on hold. You can hear the show live, so you're not going to miss a thing. And then you can jump right in and share your experience. But we want to hear some of these stories, because some of them, Jerry, I know they are divinely inspired when two people come back together after 20, 30, 40, 50 years of being disconnected.
That's right. So again, you can share your take on this, 1-800-585-9396. It's always interesting when you do get, and this has happened to me, Debbie, I'm sure it's happened to you, a friend request will come in on Facebook, and I'll say, could that be that John Smith? Or,
from high school?
I wonder if it's that person by that name, and sure enough, it turns out that it is. And I'm curious to know if anyone listening, when this has happened to you, have you picked up right where you left off? Maybe you were just really, really super close. You talked on the phone all the time, spent time together, went out and did things together. And then again, for whatever circumstances or reasons, you end up drifting apart because one of you takes a job across the country or something. But when you get back reconnected, do you just pick up without a beat like where you left off? Or was it a little bit awkward, kind of getting reacquainted and reestablishing that friendship? Debbie, I'd love to hear how these reconnections are going for people.
Well, and also, too, I think it's very interesting when people have been far apart for many years, when they do finally connect and start to communicate and talk to one another and build the relationship. Are they building the relationship from the present moment forward, or are they constantly in a time warp talking about what happened in the past? I found that in my case, Jerry, I had a elementary school friend reach out to me about 10 years ago and contacted me, and we found ourselves talking about things that we did when we were 10 and 12 years old. It was like we were in a time warp. We never moved forward. And it's kind of interesting how that happens, because that's the memory that you have, or the last vivid memory you have of that person. So it'd be interesting to see how relationships have developed when there was a reconnection in place. 1-800-585-9396. That's what we're talking about today. Long lost friends. If you've reconnected with your long lost friend or loved one, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, it could be a friend, could be a family member, an extended family member. And I know, Debbie, I have reconnected with a lot of high school classmates, and even those who were a little bit ahead of me and a little bit behind me in high school. And here's something that I want to hear from somebody about, to see your take on this, because my life has changed a lot. I am in high school. I wasn't against the church or anything. Didn't hate the church. Didn't reject the church. I just didn't practice my faith. So there was pretty much no way people would have known that I was a Catholic at that time. And of course, since then, God has brought me closer to Himself, involved in church, Catholic ministry. And so this is always something that intrigues me. When people get reconnected with me, then they start to learn about what I'm doing and that I'm closer to Christ, have a relationship with Him. I'm in the church. I'm active in ministry. And that gives me then an opportunity, not in any pushy kind of a way, but it gives me a chance to just share who I am now with people. And I want to know if anyone has had that experience where someone got reconnected with you and then they went, wow, you are you're not the person you were back in high school. But maybe
What
they look
happened?
at you and you say, yeah, you're better, you're happier.
Yeah.
What is it? What has changed in your life? So many directions that this show can go today, Debbie.
I can tell by the smile on your face, Jerry, this is bringing up really great memories for you of people that you have had relationships with in the past and maybe have lost touch with. I feel the same way because I'm one of those unique people, though. I have to tell you, I'm still friends with elementary school friends that we went to Catholic school together. Kindergarten friends, we send each other birthday cards every year, and I have a great friend in New Jersey who keeps us all connected by Facebook. She does a wonderful job, and then I'm still best friends with my childhood friend from when I was 6 months old, Kristen, and now she moved to North Carolina. And she was my maid of honor. I was her maid of honor. Actually, she was my maid of honor twice. But we've always had that great relationship and we've always been extremely close. So I'm one of those unique people that hold on to long relationships. And so I don't have a yearning, if you will, to reach out to maybe somebody that has come into my life and has left. I've always had great feelings for people. I do believe that people, like the poem says, people come into your life for a reason, for a season, or for a lifetime. And so I've come to grips with that sometimes people come in for a certain purpose in your life, or you're in their life for a certain purpose, and then it's time to maybe just let it play out. So I'm pretty cool with how relationships kind of, I guess, come and go, if that's the right way to say it. So,
yeah, and here's something else too. As we get set to take your calls in a few minutes, my mother used to say all the time, and I scratched my head. I just couldn't understand what she meant, Debbie. And maybe you've heard this. My mother used to say, "If you have one true friend in your life, you're lucky." Mm-hmm. And I thought, Mom, what do you mean? I've got all kinds of friends, but as life goes on, we do realize. I learned what she meant. A true friend who stands by you at all times through any circumstances, the good times, the bad times. So, dear friends, as you're listening right now, that's something else you'd be welcome to share a take on right now, is if you have realized in your life that we all have many, many acquaintances and people who are, like Debbie said, at times friends, but they don't maybe stay with us through all of the difficult circumstances and things that we go through. And maybe you find yourself that you do have one or two or three really, really good friends. And talk about what that means for you. 1-800-585-9396.
Jerry, my mother used to say the exact same thing. Same thing as what your mother used to say. And my mother used to also say too that as you get older, your really strong friends that you trust are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller as you get older. I've been blessed. I have quite a few friends that would go through the war with me, if you will. But I agree. There's those certain people that you just know that you could run to no matter what, and they'll be with you, and they love you with all of your flaws, with all of your idiosyncrasies, everything. They just love you, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a gift. That's truly is a gift. So that's what we're talking about today on Take Two, reconnecting with long lost friends. We want to hear from you at 1-800-585-9396. And we're excited to start to get to the phones. We're going to get to Joan first. So hang on, Joan. We'll be right with you.
You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. The papacy is about more than the person in office, more than the outfit, hat, Pope mobile. It's about more than the beautiful buildings of the Vatican. And as awesome and as important as all that is, the papacy, at the end of the day, is about Jesus Christ, who left us with an organized religion because he preferred that to disorganized religion. It's about Jesus, who founded a church before we had a book, because he wanted his people to live, breathe, worship, and work as one body. It's hard to describe how amazing it is for Catholics to gather, as they always have, around the Rock of Peter to celebrate faith in Jesus Christ.
This is Chris Stefanik. Complete coverage of World Youth Day 2016 from Krakow continues all this week, only on EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
Welcome to EWTN's Catholic Almanac.
Today is July 25th, and on this day in 1968, Pope Paul VI issued Humanae Vitae. Although he was criticized for the Church's stance against contraception and abortion, his grim predictions of their effects have sadly proven true. Also, today is the feast of St. James the Apostle. After the resurrection of Jesus, St. James preached the gospel in Samaria, Judea, and Spain. He was the first of the apostles to be martyred in 44 A.D.
Hi, this is Barbara McWiggin.
This is Bishop Joseph Bambera of the Diocese of Scranton.
I'm Brian Patrick, EWTN News Nightly Anchor, and you're listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
We're always so glad you're with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Starting this week out with the topic, long-lost friends. Maybe you have been reconnected with someone after, I don't know, how long a time, Debbie, do you think it would take to qualify as long-lost?
10 years.
5 years? 10 years?
Yeah, 10
You
years.
think 10?
I think it's, well, because life's changed so much in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, well, I guess maybe even 5 years. You're right, because in this day and age, everything changes quickly. So that's a good point.
All right. Well, we're going to get to Joan here. I'll give you the phone number first. 1-800-585-9396. Have you lost track of someone? You're trying. Maybe you're, well, perhaps not yet trying, thinking, gosh, I'd really like to be back in touch with that person. A lot of ways to do that now. Social media, the internet. You can look them up online. It's just really a lot easier than ever before. Maybe you've had an experience where you sought someone out, but that person didn't want to reestablish the friendship or the communication, or vice versa. So there's a lot of angles we can take here. 1-800-585-9396. As Debbie said, we have Joan first in Abington, Massachusetts. Joan listening to EWTN Radio on the Station of the Cross. Joan, you're first on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Welcome.
That was pretty quick today. I'm just calling you with a question. I know you people are trying to get others to connect with people today. My question that I'm calling today, though, is I lost my father at the age of 20 and my mother at the age of 29. And people that I had gone to school with in the past, I don't know if it's because they didn't know how to respond with the loss, that they hadn't experienced that in their life at the time. And I don't have a lot of good support in my life, unfortunately, at the moment. I've never been married. I don't have children. I've lost pets that I considered children. If people that are in the same predicament as myself right now, if you might have suggestions that have tried to reach out to others again, or they may just not have the time, or they don't have the patience to reach out to any of us anymore.
Well, Joan, can I first ask you, do you have a place where you're cultivating new friends? Because sometimes when we move past all these different experiences, sometimes the quote unquote older friends we had, maybe they really can't relate. So are you in a place where you can cultivate new friendships?
Unfortunately, I can't afford to put a car on the road. Transportation's one of my problems, that it's hard to connect with people. And some of the people that I work with presently at a part-time job, they're not all positive, which is tough when you go to work each day. Also, I want to say, and I also suffer with anxiety and depression, and you want to try and be in a positive environment in your life, not a negative, when you've had pain and sorrow and sadness in your life in the past.
Right.
Do you have siblings, Joan, or family members that, of course, if you have siblings, they too have gone through the losses that you have, and they could relate. I don't know if you have siblings or not.
I had lost an older brother, like a year younger than myself, suddenly in age, also a little over 6. And I have a younger brother as well, but he won't connect with me, which is kind of a sad, because he has experienced, like you say, the same losses in his own life as myself at this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about parish support?
I was just going to ask the same thing. Yeah,
See,
church family. Do you have
church
family support, Joan, at a parish or a church?
I kind of found it hard because of lack of transportation. It's tough to get to my local parish. I had a mass in honor of my family over 2 weeks ago, and somebody from the parish, but you wouldn't expect somebody to do that each week. Also, because this person offered to take me to mass when they go to a different mass each week. And you wouldn't expect them to change their own schedule as yours, each on a weekly basis as well.
Right. Well, Joan, because of the travel situation, I mean, you probably do have to resort to maybe phone calling with friends and stuff like that, and emailing. So it is going to become a little bit more of a difficult situation, I think, to build those relationships unless you're really good about constantly getting back to people and calling. But, the old-fashioned way of calling, and I say old-fashioned because nowadays nobody does it anymore, but to pick up the phone and call, that's the best way to connect. I mean, if there's a way you can do that, I just think you do need that. Sounds like you do need that support.
I try to do that myself, but I know everybody has their own life and and it's a different society, which kind of frustrates people as you get older in life. That my parents in the past, when I was a kid, they could always make time for others, but it's a different society now, say, than 30, 40, 50 years ago also.
Sure.
And the older I get in my own life, unfortunately, I can't chase, because that's what I was taught, is if you can try and help people. I have financial difficulties in my life also presently, like so many other people in this country nowadays, and I can't help people financially, but I have a good heart. And it's people, unfortunately, can be unkind somewhat nowadays. I want to say also is that they can't judge people from what somebody looks like on the outside. It matters what you have on the inside to offer others, which you were taught as a kid also, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joan, real quick here, before we get to our next caller, I wanted to ask about you mentioned the anxiety and the depression. I hope and pray that you're being treated or finding some professional help for those parts of your lives, because it's really important that you take care of yourself. Are you getting some assistance with all of that? And I hope you're doing okay.
I am on medication. I have tried counseling in the past, which I will say, but because of financial difficulties, that's kind of tough in my life at this time, I will say as well.
Right.
Okay. Well, and Joan, we promised to... Go ahead, Joan.
Can I ask you one other question before I let you go also?
Sure.
Sure.
If there's anybody also listening from the state of Massachusetts, if they may call in, or if somebody else from the state might have suggestions on how to help people, on if they would like to try and get to their own local parish, or any other suggestions to help people try to reconnect, or how to deal with loneliness in their own life at this time also.
Well, Joan, can I just make one suggestion? If you are at a parish that you go to on a regular basis near you, I would also bring that up to the parish staff and the pastor, because sometimes it just takes that first person to say, hey, Father, we really need to have a ministry where we could help people come together, meet each other, support each other with rides, be there for one another. Sometimes it just takes that voice to come forth for ministries to spring up. I would also suggest that too. I really would, because if it sounds like you are close to your parish, but because of the ability to get a ride there, that may be difficult in such situations. But here's the thing: if you can overcome that, there's a whole community right there waiting for you to hopefully you can start to cultivate relationships that could be supportive. I would also suggest that too, but I bet you there'll be other calls from Massachusetts that'll call in, Joan, and also will offer their suggestions as well.
All right, Joan.
Before I let you go, I know you're on a time basis. I had tried to reach out to my local parish. They said because of insurance reason, that's kind of like something through a parish council. Which I understand also nowadays as well, because of insurance reasons. Through the local parish.
Yeah, that can be overcome, obviously. If they set up a program for this, then part of that would be to secure some sort of insurance for the vehicles and the drivers and all of that. But that would really be up to the parish. We're not here to try and tell parishes what to do or anything, but that is not an insurmountable problem there, Joan. And just the last thing I would say, Joan, before we move on, sometimes in life, we're talking today about long-lost friends. We have to be a friend, and it sounds like you've got the heart to do this. Whether or not others reciprocate to you, whether or not you even have interpersonal contact with them, choose people that you know and say, I'm going to be that person's friend, and just pray for them. If that's all it amounts to, that is so fantastic. That's powerful. And you just be their friend, even if it's on a spiritual level, and you just watch what God is going to do in their lives, in your life. So there's a suggestion that I leave you with, Joan, as we get set to move on to our next caller. Joan, thank you. Bless you. You got a lot of prayer support. And we, the whole Take Two family, Debbie, we will be praying for Joan in Massachusetts.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Joan. Thank you so much for your beautiful call today. 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to dial if you want to jump in on this conversation. And we're going to move right along to Patrick in Des Moines, Iowa, listening on Iowa Catholic Radio. Hi, Patrick. Thanks for waiting. Welcome to Take Two.
Well, thanks for taking my call. This isn't about long-lost friends. This is about long friends that have been together for many, many years. I have one friend that I've been with since 9 years old, and two others since 1972. 9 years old would have been, 1966. So we've been together through thick and thin. And I was just going to say that it's good to have those friends, to keep in contact with all of them. Excuse me, I've got hay fever. I just retired from my job, and all three of them came to my retirement party, which was very special.
How nice,
and
yeah.
I guess it's not long-lost friends, but long friends. So we have to keep everybody in our lives.
That's beautiful. I tell you what, Patrick, you are a very blessed man. We were talking about this earlier in the show. Both Debbie's mom and my mom, when we were growing up, said if you have one true friend in your life, you're lucky. Well, you're lucky times 3 or 4 there, Patrick. And I have a similar situation, too, if I just can add. I've got... From my first broadcasting job, I was 18 years old. A friend that I worked with at that station, we are still very, very dear friends. He's actually become a Catholic several years ago, and so that has brought us even closer. And a third person that we've either worked with or been roommates with before. So the three of us, it's kind of, we call them, instead of the three amigos, the three big egos, But I know what it's like, Patrick. And Debbie, you said you've had friends that you've just had for decades.
Oh yeah. Same as with Patrick. It's amazing, especially when you just said, Patrick, about your friends being with you through thick and thin. It's so beautiful when your friends show up for you at those wonderful monumental occasions like retirement parties or weddings or births of your children or whatever, your grandchildren. And here come your friends that you've known. See, I get chills when I think about this. It's absolutely beautiful. And I could just imagine what it felt like for you, Patrick, when you saw your friends there. It's just, there's just a beautiful warming sense in our hearts of going, wow, these people have journeyed with us our whole entire lifetime. So it is a blessing. Would you like to just real quickly say their first names, Patrick, so we can honor them?
You bet. It's Steve, his brother Scott, and my good friend Jimmy.
Very cool. Very
and
cool.
when they asked me who I wanted to have at the retirement party, besides family, those three were the ones, and they were invited, and they've got real busy schedules. Two of them just swamped. But they took the time to come out, spend an hour with us, and I just couldn't have been happier or more proud to introduce them to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Patrick, thanks for calling from Des Moines, and all of our best to you and the folks at Iowa Catholic Radio. Our good friend John Leonetti is involved there, along with so many other people who help to make Catholic radio possible in the Des Moines area. Thank you. 1-800-585-9396. Talking today about friendship. Do you have any long-lost friends that you miss? You've lost track of, but maybe you're trying and you just can't quite manage to find where they are right now, or maybe you have had lifelong friends like Patrick just was explaining, Debbie. A lot of things we can talk about here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
It's a great feeling. Everybody also too, if you can say a quick prayer for Patrick and hay fever. Hay fever is a hard thing to get through, and you can hear that it's tough on the lungs, and it just really can wear you down. So we're prayers for you, Patrick, also for that hay fever. Okay, we're talking more about long lost friends. Phone lines are lighting up. We've got some ready to go. We're going to go off to Amber in just a few minutes, but before we do, there's room for you. You got to dial in 1-800-585-9396. Jump in on this discussion on Take Two.
In this election, we get to focus on the policy issues that are important to Catholics. The problem with this election is that you don't know what's going to happen next. If you want talking heads yelling and screaming, you're at the wrong network. At EWTN, we are covering issues in depth.
Daily convention updates and commentary from a Catholic perspective on EWTN TV.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
I'm Raymond Arroyo with Mother Angelica, A Remarkable Life. I'm in the cloister yard at Sancta Clara in Canton, Ohio. This is the monastery where Mother Angelica spent much of her young religious life. She was charged in 1958 to build this grotto to Mary. Now, she lacked but one thing, $600 to purchase hemlock trees, which she wanted to surround the grotto with. So she turned to the local mob boss in southeast Canton and asked him to collect checks among his friends and associates. She would inscribe their names on a piece of parchment, she told him, and place it within the base of this statue. He said, "Are you nuts?" She said, "Sweetheart, it'll be buried in concrete, where you're going to be if you don't straighten up." He would bring her the checks, and their names remain inside this base. Stay with EWTN as we continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Mother Angelica.
For a complete list of the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network AM and FM stations across America, go to EWTN.com. Look for the radio pull-down menu and select AM/FM stations. The list is updated regularly, so visit often. Again, go to EWTN.com. Look for the radio pull-down menu and select AM/FM stations. Also at EWTN.com, you'll find out how to listen to us on the web, on shortwave, and in some countries on satellite. You'll find it all on EWTN.com.
Our topic today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, long lost friends. We are talking about people we once knew, we were close to, high school. I have high school classmates. We were so close. And you just think this is going to go on. It's going to last a lifetime. And you go your own ways. You go to college. I went to broadcasting school. You move. You take jobs. You get busy. You start families. Well, thankfully, I've gotten reconnected with a lot of those people. But maybe there's somebody special in your life that you would love to be reunited with, even electronically. And if you're thinking about that, or if you've made the effort, let's talk about that. 1-800-585-9396. How is either missing someone you once spent a lot of time with or reestablishing that friendship, how has that changed your life and even helped you in your relationship with God, maybe helped you share your faith life with that person? 800-585-9396. All right, Amber is in South Bend, Indiana, listening to EWTN Radio on Redeemer Radio. Hi, Amber. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello.
Hi, Amber. How are you doing today?
It's good. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
I told the young gentleman that answered the phone that I think that with age comes wisdom, because I think a lot of older people have this kind of theory, because I heard the same thing from my grandmother growing up. And I'm among you. I had a lot of friends in high school, even college, that I thought, I would always stay in contact with, and as you kind of go down different paths, you kind of lose the way, kind of lose communication with them. And I have been blessed with two amazing friends who we've helped each other through tremendous things in life.
But see, that's beautiful. No, that's beautiful, Amber. Go ahead.
Oh, don't apologize, please.
We have gone through death, struggled with addictions and relationships. And I think it's important to have great people like that in your life to speak truth to you when others will just tell you what you want to hear.
Sure. Well, and it sounds, but you're blessed to have those people around you. I think it's no matter when those people come into your life, whether it's at childhood or when you're in elementary school, high school, or in your adult life, when God puts those right people in your path during those hardest times, that's when we know that God really, it's just an affirmation about how much God loves us, that He puts these people in our path to help us journey along to get to that next step. And it sounds like you've been blessed with the right friends that came in at the right time, Amber.
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm not Catholic, but we are Christian. And a friend of mine and I just went and got tattoos because we just felt like God was so strong in our lives and changed both of us. That mine says, God crossed our paths, and hers says, and forever changed our direction.
Wow. That is, Amber, are these two friends that you're talking about, are they geographically close to you as well?
Yes, actually, one is, I live in South Bend, or I'm from South Bend, I should say, and she's one of my best friend is from Florida, and at one time she was going through some rough time and thought about moving back, and her family in Florida even said, "Are you sure? Like you're gonna leave? You're gonna leave her?"
That's
and
precious.
that was one of the reasons she didn't move back. So and our families get along real well. We have two boys that are close in age that they're best friends with each other, and our husbands get along real well. And so we've kind of adopted each other's families. When we've gone down to Florida, we've met up with her family, and my dad calls her his adopted daughter. So.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, you are blessed. And on your comment here when you were calling in, it says, this circle of friendships that you have, it's fine for you. You don't need to expand it, or you want to expand it, or what?
I think I would obviously love to expand it, but I think it's hard as time goes on to kind of expand that to let people in, because I think some people are here only for a season, and I think as I get older, I start to realize that not to hold on to things or people who maybe God only sent to me for a certain amount of time, for a certain season, for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And that I have to realize that it's not necessarily always for me. It could have been something in their life that they were struggling with, that I was supposed to do something for them, and then they were to move on.
Right. Well, it talks about that, but when I shared that poem at the beginning of the show about that poem that people come in for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and when we do have those lifetime friends that are with us, and we know they're going to be with us through everything, that's amazing. And then God blesses us with more and more people to be able to just walk with us during certain times, and maybe they're not going to be there forever, but they help us at a certain situation. I really believe in my heart of hearts there's no accident when people meet each other and encounter each other. There's no accident. There's usually some reason to help one another, to serve one another. And it's interesting how it works, but I think you're blessed, Amber. It sounds like you have a lot of love and a lot of gratitude for your friends, and I think that's beautiful.
I do. And it's, believe it or not, one of my good friends we met at work, and the other one we met at a hair salon. So I just feel like he can meet you exactly where you are.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right, Amber. God bless you, and thank you for your call. You have really lifted all of our spirits today, and all of our listeners as well. And thank you so much for listening to Redeemer Radio and to EWTN Radio and Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Appreciate the call very much at 1-800-585-9396. One thing, Debbie, and your listeners, I would love to have somebody, if this description kind of fits you. Sometimes we see this in movies. We hear about these touching stories, Debbie, of family members being separated at some point in their lives, and maybe siblings, twins, or they're put up for adoption. One of them goes in one direction, one of them goes in another direction, and then they end up finding each other. So It'd be just so neat to hear from someone who's had that experience in your life and what that was like. 1-800-585-9396.
Okay, Mary, you're up next in North Dakota listening on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Take Two. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
You're up.
I was just calling when Joan called in about talking to her parish about getting rides, and they were concerned about insurance. Our church is part of their stewardship. We can sign up and offer to give people rides to masses, daily masses, other activities through the church. So there's no insurance involved or anything. And the people I know that do it absolutely love doing it. So you don't have to feel bad about bothering their schedule or anything. So that's at our church, there's quite a few people that take advantage of that.
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's fantastic. I know many years ago, and I've done this recently, but not as much, I used to regularly take communion to those who could not get to Mass. But this is far better than that in a sense. I mean, it's still receiving the Eucharist, and you pray with someone in their home. But if someone is able, Debbie, to get to the church, you said it earlier, be a part of the family. Be a part of the parish community. I think that's it gives somebody so much more worth and dignity and a feeling of belonging. As good as it is to take communion to those who are homebound and sick, and by all means, every parish should do that. But if Mary's parish is leading the way in this, I think it's a great program that they have.
Yeah, I do too. And maybe that could help out Joan. Maybe to go back and check out to see if there's something that could be started again at her parish. There's always ways to do things, and I just think it's unfortunate when there are people on the perimeter kind of looking into the community saying, I wish I could be part of the community, but find no way in or the assistance to get in. So it's always important for us to always make sure we can reach out to those people. And Mary, it sounds like in your community that's working, and that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mary. We're going to go over to Carrie in Kenosha, Wisconsin, listening to EWTN Radio. Carrie, thank you for calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about friendship, long-lost friends, and the like. So what is your take on this, Carrie?
Yes. A couple of things about Joan, too. Sometimes God puts a want or a need in the person's hand, which to develop it. So maybe he's encouraging in that area of her need. Couple of things I would also add is get involved in groups that she finds an interest in. Volunteer to be a telephone visitor. Take walks around the neighborhood or just stop in and say, hi, how are you? And then who knows where that goes. And then 4, pay attention to what you're saying. Because many times you may say something and then follow it with a but. And so I've tried this, but. I've tried this, but. I've tried this, but. A couple of times that may work. But when it follows every single thing that you say, then you need to start looking inward and saying, okay, where does that change need to happen? And as far as friend, I have a friend that I went to high school with, and through our years, we have lost touch at least 4 different times. And each time we find each other again. And she's in Texas, and I'm here in Milwaukee. And we now email and Facebook each other, and we've gotten to know each other again. We were kids, but it's different. And really, because God keeps on putting us in each other's lives for seasons, for whatever that may be. And
right.
I'm done. Thank you.
Carrie, you did a great. Thank you so much. You were kind of going in and out a little bit when you were talking, but I think we got the gist of it. One thing that you were saying that made me think of something. It's interesting, and I've kind of explored it a little bit with Amber about we get so attached to those really close friends we have, that circle of friends that we can confide in and we trust. And sometimes we are hesitant to open up that circle to new friends because we don't want to ruin what we have. There's that thing called the cliques, you know, how you can't really break into another person's circle of friends. And maybe that's been an experience of some of you. I know it has with me. My husband and I moved to a certain area and we met a bunch of couple friends and we thought it was going to just be a blast to get to know them. And they had their own clique going on, and it was really very hard to break into it. Eventually, we just said, no, we're not going to even try because we weren't going to get into their circle of friends. So maybe that has happened to you, and that's tough. And that's what I think I'm trying to bring up is it's wonderful, and we're blessed to have this group of tight-knit friends. But are we open? Are we open to experiencing other people coming into our life for a reason? And it's very interesting. So thanks, Carrie, for that call. I just wanted to bring that up, Jerry. It dawned on me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie, for calling in. We did have a bit of a difficult connection with you on the phone there. But, yeah, another thing, too, is spouses can sometimes be a little bit jealous, shall we say. If, say, a wife has a really, really good friend or a circle of friends, there's no way a spouse should, I don't think. I mean, unless the other spouse is spending all of their time there.
Exactly.
And you got to keep relationships in right order, of course. But anyway, a lot of different ways to look at this topic of friendship today. Long lost friends. Have you reconnected with someone from way, way back when? Or maybe you're searching, or maybe you tried and didn't get a reciprocal response. What's your take? 1-800-585-9396.
When you listen to Women of Grace Live, it's not possible to come away from that hour without feeling encouraged, without feeling inspired, without feeling that you've just had the opportunity to enter into holy conversation. This holy conversation comes by way of the many callers who share with us the concerns of their heart, the issues that they're facing. I'm Janet Benkovic, inviting you to join me weekday mornings at 11 Eastern for Women of Grace on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Check out EWTN's official YouTube channel. Just follow the link on our homepage at EWTN.com or go to YouTube.com/EWTN.
Watch EWTN's live shows or today's homily from the Daily Mass.
Click the upload button to see our most recent clips.
You can also find all of EWTN YouTube content by clicking the playlist button.
It's all on the official EWTN YouTube channel at YouTube.com/EWTN. Visit today.
You found EWTN Radio, and we don't forbid you to turn the channel. You're not prohibited, but if there's something else, well, hey, we it's fine with us. If you have a sports station you like to turn to, or your music, your classical or talk, but hey, keep coming back because this is where your faith is supported. And a lot of people leave it on all day long, and we appreciate that so much. And we just encourage you to keep a preset set to EWTN Radio, whether it's on your local AM or FM affiliate, Sirius XM 130, because your faith is supported right here. Shows like EWTN Open Line with today John Martinoni at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Speaking of not long-lost friends, but very, very good friends, he's a good friend of both mine and Debbie's. John Martinoni will take your calls on apologetics today at 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on EWTN Radio.
That's going to be a great show. Okay, Lori, you are up next. You're listening to EWTN Radio in Washington on Sacred Heart Radio. Hi, Lori. Welcome.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. This is Lori from Wenatchee, Washington. And
hey,
I just
Lori.
wanted to make the comment. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said, hey, Lori, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love your show. My little dog listens to it when I'm not there. And I have it on all the time, and I listen to you on Corpus Christi from our local station here. And I wanted to comment about how wonderful God is and knows everything, even when we have no inkling. I just recently rendezvoused with my high school sweetheart from 47 years ago, and he has no nuclear family left, so I told him that I would be his family. And he's attracted a little bit to the allure of romance, but I don't know if that's in God's plan, but it's just so wonderful after all this time.
Isn't that
Wow.
beautiful? Who found who, Lori? Did you find him? How'd you reach out and connect?
Well, I was at a funeral at a different church and happened to sit down right next to his uncle. And when his uncle introduced himself to me very, in a Christian, outgoing way, I thought about his last name for a few seconds and I thought, do I dare ask him? So finally I did, and he said, oh, yes, that man was my older brother. He's deceased now. And then, and I said, so then Mitch is he said, Mitch is my nephew. And then he proceeded to just tell me that Mitch had lost his mother, his biological father, his older brother, and his younger sister.
Wow.
And all within 6.5 years. And I just thought, that's that's so much loss and stress and hard time. And I put myself in his shoes and just thought, that's so much stress, and it's such a sad thing, and family is so important to me, and as it is to him. So I reached out, I found his address online, sent him a card, and that was the beginning of all of it. And now we're like each other's best friend.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
So
and
we owe it all to God because we have so much in common. We went our separate ways. And it's been 47 years since we dated each other, and there was really no closure because I became ill. And so now it's like God just has a purpose for everything, and He's brought us full circle into, if anything, I don't mean to belittle friendship, a wonderful friendship, and whatever remains to be seen, we take it day by day.
Right. And you're both open to it, which is beautiful. So it's a beautiful friendship, organically just reconnecting. That's awesome.
Oh, organically, that's his word. And he said, why don't we just see where it leads organically?
Yeah, there you
said,
go.
Well, I think I can do that.
Very cool. Hey, Lori, just as a question, can we get a testimony from your dog about how much that your dog likes the show?
I will send it in. Yes, he's adorable. He's a little Bichon Frise. His name is Yeti. And he thinks he's pretty tough, but when he listens to you, I think it just brings him down a notch.
Aww.
And he knows he's not the ruler of his little universe, and that's a very positive thing. He's just adorable. He's an angel from heaven, and he helped me get over a very sad marriage and divorce, and the church is annulling it, is in the process of annulling it. So, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
That's
God
right.
does.
Yeah, well, either way, you've got Yeti there to keep you company, and this friend you've been reconnected with as well. And we've heard Debbie's dog on the show before, actually,
Grace.
a couple times. Grace,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
Gracie.
that's good. Well, maybe I'll have to get him on the show. He's adorable. He's only 14 months old.
Aww,
and totally white with beautiful, beautiful hair, fur, non-allergenic. Talks a lot, has a lot to say about things, and he's just my angel dog.
That is precious.
Well,
God,
you've inspired us, Lori. We
Yeah.
may have to do a show where we have people call in and get their dogs to speak on the air about how much they love Take
That
Two
would
with
be
Jerry and
great.
Debbie. Thanks, Lori.
He sings to me, too, so, yeah.
Oh, there you
go.
go.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks,
All
Lori.
right, you
Love
too, Lori.
And
Thank you.
blessings on both of you and your program.
Thank you. We
Thanks,
love
Lori.
you too, Lori. By the way, I mentioned earlier in the show the two very, very good friends. The three of us are all radio guys. We've been in radio 35 plus years, so we have that in common. But we're just very, very, very close friends from even our first jobs or high school. And one of them lives in Wenatchee, Washington, and works in a country radio station there. So small world. Thanks, Lori, for the call. Veronica, next in Lubbock, Texas, listening to EWTN Radio on Our Lady of Victory. Hi, Veronica. You are up next on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thank you for taking my call in. I had just a question. I am married, and I have this friend. I had this friend in high school that continuously goes through my mind, and he was a best friend of mine. I mean, we were great and everything, and our friendship, and I still love him, but not in a relationship type way. And he's kind of lost contact with all the friends that I know, and I know that through social media that I could probably find him through Facebook or somewhere if I would really try. But I don't want to because he doesn't. He left it really clear to me that he didn't want a friendship with me anymore. And then later down the line, I found out through the grapevines that he is now gay. I think that is the reason why he doesn't want to talk to me, because I was part of his other life.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love him as as a person, and I miss him. So when I do think of him, I pray for him. Now the battle that I'm having is accepting it. I feel like, okay, he doesn't want me as a friend, but I still would love just to talk to him, to see how he's doing, to let him know that I'm thinking of him and that I wish the best for him. What do you guys suggest that I do?
That's going to take a lot longer than we have I think we only have a couple minutes left till the show ends, Veronica. But one thing I just would say, you said that you are married, and that this gentleman that now has said that he is gay, you had once loved in a different way, I guess. I'm assuming in a different way. Okay. If it were me, I would just continue to pray and hold it at a distance, and I'll tell you why I say that. Sometimes relationships, they can cause more problems in the marriage that we're in, just because it was a past relationship we had. Put aside anything if they're gay or not, or that doesn't matter. It's that person had a special part of our heart at a certain time, and now we are in a marriage and we're at a different stage of our life. Sometimes those things need to be resisted, and you can still love and pray for him from a distance. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you have a day-to-day contact with. You have to really weigh it to see if it's going to affect your marriage. If it's going to affect your marriage, I certainly would not do it. If you don't have your husband's blessing on it, I wouldn't do it. And I will tell you that I have a lot of friends on Facebook I see all the time. These were guys that I had actually dated in high school. I don't comment on Facebook for them. I don't do anything, and simply because I would feel very uncomfortable. It wouldn't feel right for me to do that. It wouldn't be honoring of my marriage to my husband. And so I don't even comment when they're on Facebook. So I don't know if that helps at all, but you really have to weigh the situation and really have it be a blessing from your husband that it's okay to introduce this person back into your life. I hope that helps, Veronica.
Yes, it does. And I know my husband, he's like, oh, no way to that. So it would cause, I wouldn't be honoring my relationship, because I would not, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, there's the answer to your question right there, Veronica. And but it's good that you're asking this question, because unfortunately, a lot of people wouldn't even consider this particular component of these dynamics. And so, Veronica, you've got the right direction to go, and we know that with God's help, you're going to go down that right direction. Tomorrow, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, we are going to talk about the Truth and Life dramatized audio Bible. We're calling it the Bible to Go. All right, folks, your excuses for not being able to study the Bible very, very conveniently are now gone, and they have been for some time, Debbie. Mike Stark is going to join us. He and Raymond Arroyo and some others created this Truth and Life Bible. Should be a good show.
It's going to be a great show. We're so grateful to you, though, for calling in today and making this a special show. Thank you so very much. Stay tuned in to EWTN all day long. But Jerry and I want to wish you a beautiful and blessed day. See you soon.